The sky over Caliph V was the color of old steel, heavy with clouds that never quite rained, but always threatened to. The planet sat on the edge of known space, a cold rock rich in one thing only, Xytherium isotope. The stuff that powered jump drives, made shields stronger, and turned small wars into big ones. Humans had come to talk peace and trade. The Zarath Dominion had come to pretend they wanted the same thing. Inside the low dome of the embassy compound, the air smelled of burnt wiring and alien incense. Delegates from both sides sat around a wide black table. Human diplomats in plain gray suits. Zarath nobles in flowing robes of shifting silver and deep violet. Their leader, Queen Regent Valoria Ctharin, did not sit. She stood at the head like a statue carved from obsidian and pearl, 7 feet tall, her forearms folded behind her back. Her compound eyes caught every flicker of light, every nervous shift from the humans. Sergeant Elias Kane stood against the wall with 6 other Marines. He was not tall for a human, but broad across the shoulders. His armor was scarred from a dozen different campaigns. His face carried the look of a man who had seen too many friends die, and still kept showing up for work. He carried a standard-issue pulse rifle across his chest, barrel down, finger nowhere near the trigger. Protocol. Always protocol, until it wasn't. The talks had dragged for 3 days. Everyone knew the real issue was not trade rights. It was who would control the Xytherium mines after the humans left. The Zarath wanted it all. The humans wanted a fair cut. Neither side was going to bend. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, a Zarath advisor, a thin, younger male with pale green chitin, stood up suddenly. He spoke in the clicking, melodic Zarath tongue. The translator in Elias's ear buzzed. "Honored guests," the advisor said, "we offer one final gesture of trust." He reached into his robe. Elias felt the change before he saw it. The air grew tight. The other Marines tensed. Hands drifted toward weapons. The advisor pulled out a small crystal orb. It glowed soft blue. "A gift," he said. "Xytherium sample, pure, for your scientists." He placed it on the table. The Queen Regent's mandibles moved slightly. Approval, or so it looked. Then the orb pulsed once, bright, angry red. The explosion was small but perfect. It ripped outward in a silent white ring. The table shattered. Chairs flew. Human diplomats screamed as shards of crystal and metal tore through them. 2 Zarath nobles near the blast simply disappeared into red mist. Elias was already moving. He threw himself sideways, slamming into the Marine next to him. They hit the floor together as plasma lances opened up from hidden panels in the walls. Blue-white bolts stabbed across the room. One caught the Marine Elias had tackled square in the chest. The man's armor cracked open like eggshell. He made a wet sound and stopped moving. Elias rolled, came up on one knee, rifle raised. He fired 3 quick bursts. 2 Zarath in black combat harness dropped, chest smoking. A third lunged at him with a curved energy blade. Elias sidestepped, drove the butt of his rifle into the alien's throat plate. Something cracked. The Zarath staggered. Elias finished him with a point-blank shot to the face. Chaos everywhere. Screams. The sharp hiss of plasma. The dull thump of human rifles answering. Elias scanned for the Queen. She was already moving. Fast. Graceful. Forearms flashing as she deflected a stray bolt with a personal shield. Her guards formed a tight circle around her. They were retreating toward the rear exit. Good, Elias thought. Let them run. We'll sort this later. Then he saw the lance coming. A Zarath heavy trooper stood 30 meters away, braced against a pillar. The weapon on his shoulder was long, black, and ugly. It whined as it charged. Elias turned to warn the others. Too late. The lance fired. A spear of sun-bright plasma crossed the room in a heartbeat. It struck Elias just below the left ribs. The impact was like being hit by a truck made of fire. His armor melted inward. Ceramic plates cracked and fused to skin. The beam punched through muscle, bone, lung. It burned a tunnel the size of a fist, straight through his torso and out the other side. Blood and vaporized tissue sprayed in a wide arc behind him. Elias's legs gave out. The rifle slipped from his fingers and clattered away. He looked down. There was a hole where part of his chest used to be. He could see daylight through it. Smoke rose from blackened meat. His left arm hung useless. Every breath felt like knives scraping inside his ribs. He should have fallen forward. Should have died right there. Instead, he stayed on his knees, staring at the wound. The Zarath heavy trooper lowered the lance. His mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. He turned away, already moving to new targets. Around the room, the fight was ending. Human Marines lay scattered. A few still twitched. Zarath soldiers moved among them, finishing the job with quick blade strokes. Elias's vision narrowed, black at the edges. His heart hammered once, twice, then slowed. Each beat sent fresh blood spilling down his side. He heard boots approaching. 2 Zarath in officer harness stopped in front of him. One nudged him with a foot. Dead, the first said in standard. Human, the second replied. They break easy. They walked on. Elias waited until their footsteps faded. Then, slowly, he reached up with his good hand. His fingers found the edge of the wound. He pressed, hard. Pain exploded behind his eyes, white, blinding. He bit down on his own tongue until he tasted copper. But he did not scream. He forced himself to one knee, then the other. His legs shook. His remaining lung wheezed like a punctured bellows. Blood dripped steadily onto the floor. He looked across the ruined hall. The Queen Regent was gone. Her guards had pulled her out. The surviving Zarath were securing the compound, dragging bodies, collecting weapons. No one watched the human with the hole in his chest. Elias took one step, then another. Each step pulled at the wound. Fresh blood ran down his leg, soaked his boot. His vision swam. He tasted iron in every breath. He did not stop. He walked past dead friends, past broken tables, past the crystal orb that had started it all, now cracked and dark. He reached the side corridor. The emergency hatch was blown open. Outside, wind howled across the landing field. Acid rain hissed on metal. Elias leaned against the frame. He looked back once. No one followed. He stepped into the storm. Behind him, in the command shuttle already climbing toward orbit, Queen Regent Valoria Sassitharan sat in silence. Her aides reported the embassy secured, all human delegates dead, all Marines accounted for. She listened without expression. One aide hesitated. There was one human, he said, badly wounded, plasma through the torso. We left him. He was finished. Valoria's compound eyes clicked once. Good, she said. The gray planet fell away beneath them. A human should be dead, she thought. And so he was, or so everyone believed. The rain on Calith VI never fell in clean drops. It came down in a fine burning mist that ate at metal and stung skin. Elias Kane moved through it like a ghost already half gone. His left arm hung limp at his side, useless. The hole in his chest leaked steadily. Dark blood mixed with clear fluid that smoked in the cold air. Every step pulled at the burned edges of the wound. Pain came in waves, sharp then dull, sharp then dull. He ignored it the way a man ignores hunger when the only choice is keep moving or die. He had no plan, just direction. Away from the embassy, away from the Zarath, toward anything that might let him live another hour. The ground was soft volcanic ash, mixed with sharp grass, that cut like glass. Each step sank a little, then tore at his boots. He kept one hand pressed hard against the front of the hole. Fingers slipped in wet warmth. He squeezed tighter. Not to stop the bleeding. Nothing could stop that much blood, but to keep his guts from falling out. Behind him the compound lights still burned orange against the gray sky. Shouts carried on the wind. Zareth voices. Orders. The sound of bodies being dragged. Cleanup had started. Elias walked. 1 kilometer became 2. His good lung rattled with every breath. Wet coughs brought up black clots. He spat them out without stopping. His vision blurred at the edges, but he forced his eyes to focus on the next patch of ground. Step, step, step. He found a wrecked supply crawler half buried in a ditch. The front was smashed, one track missing, but the rear hatch was still closed. He leaned against it, breathing hard. His hand left a wide red smear on the metal. Inside smelled of oil and old rations. No power, no lights, just shadows. He crawled in, pulled the hatch shut behind him. For a moment he sat in the dark, back against the wall, legs stretched out. The pain settled into a deep, steady burn. His heart beat too slow, too weak. He reached into his torn armor pouch with shaking fingers, pulled out a small emergency medkit, standard Marine issue, bandages, pain blockers, a single dose of adrenaline stim, and one thing the Zeroth would never expect: a field cauterizer. Small, hot, meant for sealing small cuts in emergencies. This was no small cut. He tore open his shirt, looked down at the wound again. The exit hole in his back was bigger than the entry. Jagged, charred meat hung in strips. He could feel air moving through the tunnel when he breathed. No time to think. Thinking would stop him. He pressed the cauterizer to the front wound first. The device hissed. White heat touched raw flesh. The pain was blinding. His whole body locked. A scream tried to come out, but only a choked gasp escaped. Smoke rose. The smell of cooked meat filled the small space. He held it there until the edges sealed into a thick black crust. Then he reached behind himself, awkward, slow, and did the same to the exit wound. The angle was bad. He almost passed out twice. But he kept the tool pressed until the bleeding slowed to a trickle. When it was done, he dropped the cauterizer. It clattered on the floor. His hands shook so hard he could barely close the medkit. He sat there panting. The stim syringe lay in his lap. He stared at it for a long time. If he used it now, it might give him hours, maybe a day. If he waited, shock would take him soon. He snapped the cap off, jammed the needle into his thigh, pressed the plunger. Fire raced up his veins. His heart slammed once, hard, then again, faster, stronger. The fog in his head cleared a little. Pain sharpened, but so did everything else. He found a Zerath plasma carbine lying near the driver's seat. One of their soldiers must have died here earlier. The weapon was heavy, awkward in human hands, but it still had half charge. Elias slung it over his good shoulder. He opened the hatch again, stepped back into the rain. The stim gave him speed he should not have had. He moved faster now, not running. His body would not allow running, but a steady, stubborn march. The wound pulled with every step. Fresh cracks opened in the cauterized skin. Blood seeped again, but slower. He followed the line of a broken power conduit. It led toward lights in the distance. A Zeroth forward base, small, just a cluster of prefab domes and landing pads. Guard towers, sentries. Elias did not plan to attack it. He planned to get close enough to die in sight of it, to make them see. He crawled the last half-kilometer on his belly through the razor grass. Blades sliced his arms and face. He left a wide trail of red behind him. At the edge of the base perimeter, he stopped, hid behind a low rock shelf, watched. Zareth's soldiers moved in pairs. They carried long rifles. Their eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Searchlights swept the ground in slow arcs. Elias waited until a patrol passed. Then he crawled forward again, toward the nearest dome. He reached the wall, pressed his back to it. The metal was cold against his fever-hot skin. His fingers found a small access panel, maintenance hatch, locked. But the lock was Zareth's standard, simple code pad. He had watched their techs enter codes during the talks, same pattern every time. 4 clicks, pause, 3 more. He punched it in with bloody fingers. The hatch hissed open. Inside was a storage room, crates, tools, a comms terminal on the wall. Elias dragged himself to the terminal. His legs would not hold him anymore. He sat on the floor, back against the console. He pulled the scavenged carbine into his lap, checked the charge again, still half. Then he reached up, found the emergency transmit button. No code needed for distress. He leaned close to the pickup. His voice came out wet and rough. Still, here. He said it again, and again, looping. The message patched through the base array, bounced to a relay, shot upward to orbit. On the flagship above Caliph 6, Queen Regent Valoria Sisitharan sat in her command throne. The chamber was quiet, except for the soft hum of displays. An aide approached, bowed low. Highness, a signal from the surface, human origin, distress beacon, crude, but active. Valoria turned one set of eyes toward him. Play it. The aide touched a panel. Elias's voice filled the chamber, rasping, wet, determined. Still, here. Again, still, here. Valoria's mandibles twitched. Source. Forward base Delta 7. Perimeter storage. The signal is looping. Visual. A grainy feed appeared from a security drone that had drifted near the dome. The image showed Elias slumped against the console, chest a ruin of black crust and fresh blood. Face pale, eyes half open but burning. He lifted one hand, middle finger raised toward the camera. Then he slumped lower. But the message kept playing. Still, here. Valoria stared. No Zareth could survive that wound. Not for minutes, not for hours. Yet the human lived. She stood, forearms unfolded like wings. Send a retrieval team, elite, non-lethal weapons only. I want him alive. The aide hesitated. Highness, for what purpose? Almost soft. To understand. She watched the feed again. The human's chest rose and fell. Weak, but steady. A human should be dead, she said quietly. The words hung in the air. She turned away from the screen, but her eyes stayed on it. Below, on the cold surface, Elias felt the stim beginning to fade. Darkness crept in again. He smiled through cracked lips. They had seen him. Good. Let them come. He closed his eyes, but his heart kept beating. Slow, stubborn, still here. The retrieval team came fast. 4 Zareth in heavy black armor dropped from a silent shuttle. They moved like shadows across the wet ground. No lights, no noise except the soft hiss of their boots in the ash. They found Elias exactly where the beacon led them, slumped inside the storage dome, back against the console, carbine still in his lap. His head had fallen forward. Blood had pooled under him in a wide, dark circle. His chest rose once, twice, very slow. The team leader, a tall female with silver rank stripes, raised a stun lance. She aimed at his neck. A soft blue pulse hit him. His body jerked once, then went limp. They lifted him carefully. No rough handling. The queen had said alive. They wrapped him in a thermal blanket that sealed around the wound to slow the bleeding. Then they carried him back to the shuttle. The doors closed without a sound. High above, in the flagship's medical bay, the lights were cold and white. Elias woke strapped to a surgical cradle. Thick bands held his arms, legs, and chest. Tubes ran into his good arm. Monitors beeped in soft rhythm. The hole in his torso was covered with a clear gel patch that glowed faintly blue. It hurt less now, numb, but he could still feel the empty space inside him. He opened his eyes. A Zereth physician stood over him, thin, older, with pale blue chitin and 4 delicate hands moving tools. The alien did not speak at first, just watched the screens. Then he touched a panel. A soft voice came from a hidden speaker. Subject awake, vitals stable, impossible. Elias tried to speak. His throat was dry. He coughed. Blood flecked his lips. The physician turned. You live, he said in Standard. We do not understand how. Elias forced a weak smile. Lucky, I guess. The physician tilted his head. Luck does not rebuild lung tissue, or seal arteries, or fight infection from plasma burn. Your body does things no known species can. Elias closed his eyes for a second. The pain was there, waiting. We're stubborn, he rasped. Doors hissed open. Queen Regent Valoria C. Theron entered alone. She was taller here in the small room. Her robes moved like liquid silver. Her compound eyes reflected the blue glow of the monitors in hundreds of tiny points. She walked slowly around the cradle, studied him like a rare insect pinned to a board. Elias met her gaze. He did not look away. She stopped at his side. One clawed hand reached out, touched the gel patch over the wound. Very light, almost gentle. You should be dead, she said. Her voice was calm, clear. No anger, just fact. Elias coughed again. Yeah, heard that before. She pulled her hand back. Your species lacks redundancy. 1 heart, 2 lungs, no distributed neural clusters, no rapid regeneration lattice. A wound like this, she gestured to the hole, kills in under 5 minutes. Blood loss, shock, organ failure. Yet here you are, breathing, talking, defiant. Elias licked cracked lips. We don't quit easy. Valoria's mandibles clicked once, thoughtful. Why? He looked at her, really looked. Because giving up is worse than dying. She studied him longer, then turned to the physician. Full scan. Every system. I want data. All of it. The physician bowed. At once, Highness. Machines hummed. Thin probes moved over Elias's body. Lights flashed. Data scrolled across screens in lines of Zereth script. Valoria watched, silent. After a time she spoke again. Your adrenal response is extreme. Hormones flood your system at levels that would kill most beings. Your pain blockers are natural. Endorphins 10 times higher than baseline. Your blood clots faster than it should. Scar tissue is already forming across the cavity. Crude, but effective. Elias listened, said nothing. She leaned closer. Tell me, does it hurt? He met her eyes. Like hell. And yet you do not scream. You do not beg. Wouldn't help. She straightened. No, it would not. She walked to the other side of the cradle. Watched the monitors. His heart rate was low but steady. Oxygen levels climbing slowly. Infection markers dropping. In my dominion, she said, we design perfection. Redundant organs, distributed minds, bodies that heal before damage is done. We do not allow weakness. We do not allow this. She waved a hand at him. Yet your weakness keeps you alive when strength would have failed. Elias laughed. It came out as a wet cough. Maybe weakness is strength. Valoria turned sharply. Explain. He took a shallow breath. We break, we bleed, we hurt, but we keep going. Because if we stop, it's over. No second chances, no backups, just us. And we decide that's enough. She was quiet for a long time. The physician approached. Highness, preliminary results. His remaining lung has partially collapsed, but is compensating. Heart rate irregular, but increasing in strength. White blood cells are aggressive. They attack foreign material at rates we have never recorded. Fever is present but controlled. He should have died 4 times already. Valoria nodded once. Continue treatment. Stabilize him. No termination. The physician hesitated. Highness, for study? For understanding, she said. She looked back at Elias. He was watching her, eyes half-lidded, tired, but awake. Rest, she told him. You will not die today. Elias closed his eyes. Good, got things to do. She turned to leave, stopped at the door. Human, she said without turning. Yeah? What is your name? Elias Kane. She repeated it slowly. Elias Kane. Then, she was gone. The doors closed. Elias lay there in the quiet. Machines beeped. Tubes dripped. Pain throbbed under the numbness. He thought about the Marines back at the embassy, dead. About the diplomats, dead. About the Queen who should have killed him without a second thought. But she hadn't, and he was still here. His heart beat again, slow, steady. A small bloody smile crossed his face. They wanted to understand him. Good. Let them try. Hours passed, or days. Time blurred in the white room. Physicians came and went. They injected fluids, changed gel patches, ran more scans. Elias slept in short bursts, woke to pain, slept again. Once he woke to find Valoria standing there again, alone, watching. She did not speak this time, just observed. He spoke first, voice rough. Come to check if I'm still impossible? She stepped closer. Yes. Disappointed? No, she said. Fascinated. She reached out, touched his forehead. Cool claws against hot skin. You burn, she said. Fever, infection, pain, yet you fight it. Always have. She withdrew her hand. Why do humans value the individual so much? In the Dominion, the whole is greater. One dies, the hive continues. You refuse to let one die. Elias looked at her. Because each one matters. Even the broken ones. She tilted her head. And if the broken one cost the whole, then the whole wasn't worth much. Valoria was silent. Then she turned and left. Elias watched the door close. He closed his eyes. Still here, still breathing, still impossible. And the Queen, cold, perfect, logical, could not look away. The days blurred in the white medical bay. Elias Kane lay strapped to the cradle most of the time. Machines hummed around him. Tubes fed him nutrients and medicine. The gel patch over his chest wound changed color as it worked, blue to green to pale yellow. Each color meant progress. The physicians watched him like he was a puzzle with missing pieces. His fever came in waves. Hot 1 hour, shaking cold the next. Sweat soaked the thin sheet under him. His remaining lungs still made wet sounds when he breathed. But the sounds grew quieter. His heart rate, once jumping like a trapped animal, settled into a slow, stubborn rhythm. The physicians talked in low clicks when they thought he slept. They said words like impossible adaptation and death world resilience. One younger doctor kept staring at the scar tissue growing across the hole. It was thick and ugly, pink and white webs knitting over burned meat. No clean regeneration like Zarath bodies made. Just raw, messy human repair. Elias heard them. He did not speak much. Talking hurt. But when they asked questions, he answered in short sentences. Do you feel the pain always? Yes. Does it weaken you? No. It reminds me I'm alive. They wrote it down, every word. Queen Regent Valoria came often now. Not every day, but often enough. She stood at the edge of the light circle, 4 arms folded, watching. Sometimes she asked questions. Sometimes she just listened to the machines. One time she asked, "Why do humans fight when there is no chance to win?" Elias looked at her through half-closed eyes. Because someone has to. That is not logical. Logic doesn't win wars. People do. She tilted her head. Mandibles moved slowly. Your kind values emotion over reason. We value both, just not in the order you do. She left without another word. The bay lights dimmed to soft blue. Elias lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He thought about the Marines he had lost, about the diplomats, about home. He did not cry. Tears were a waste when you had so little left. Then came the night the power flickered. It started small. A light blinked, then another. The monitors stuttered. Alarms gave one short beep and died. Emergency red lights came on, low and angry. Elias felt the bands on his wrists loosen just a fraction. Safety protocol. If power failed, restraints released enough to let medics move fast. He tested them, moved his fingers. The straps gave more. Voices came from the corridor outside, not physicians, harsh, quick. Zerath words he did not understand, but he knew anger when he heard it. The door hissed open. 3 Zerath stepped in. Not medics, soldiers, black armor, faces hidden behind smooth helmets. One carried a monofilament blade that glowed faint violet. Another held a shock lance. The third had a plasma pistol. They were not here to study. The leader pointed at Elias. The human witness ends now. Elias did not wait. He yanked hard. The loosened bands snapped free. Pain tore through his chest as he rolled off the cradle. He hit the floor on his good side. Tubes ripped out of his arm. Blood sprayed from the ports. The soldiers moved fast. Elias grabbed the nearest stand, a metal pole with IV bags. He swung it like a club. It caught the first soldier in the helmet. A crack. The Zareth staggered. Elias lunged, grabbed the shock lance from the falling soldier's hand. He jammed it into the second one's chest plate. Electricity arced. The Zareth jerked and dropped. The third fired. Plasma bolts scorched the wall behind Elias. Elias rolled under the cradle. Pain screamed in his torso. Fresh blood ran down his side. The gel patch tore open. Old scars split. He came up on the other side, grabbed the fallen plasma pistol, fired once. The shot hit the third soldier in the leg. The Zerath screamed, a high, clicking sound, and fell. Elias stood, breathing hard. Blood dripped from his chin. The first soldier recovered, blade raised. He charged. Elias met him. No grace, just need. He caught the wrist with one hand, twisted, bone snapped. The blade dropped. Elias drove his knee into the Zerath's gut, then smashed the pistol butt into the helmet. Once, twice, the soldier went down. Elias stepped back, chest heaving. The hole in his torso gaped again, wider now. Blood poured. His vision swam. He looked at the 3 bodies, then at the door. More footsteps in the hall, running. He staggered to the wall, leaned against it, pistol still in his hand. He raised it toward the door. The door opened. Valoria stood there, alone. No guards yet. She looked at the dead soldiers, at the blood on the floor, at Elias, pale, swaying, weapon pointed at her. Her compound eyes clicked once. Elias lowered the pistol slowly. His arm shook. He could not hold it up anymore. "You came," he rasped. I felt the disturbance. He coughed. Blood flecked the floor. They wanted no witnesses. Valoria stepped inside. The door closed behind her. She walked forward, slow, careful. Elias slid down the wall, sat on the floor, legs out, pistol in his lap. Blood pooled under him again. Veloria knelt. Something no queen did, ever. She placed one clawed hand on his shoulder. Steady. You fought, she said. Quiet. Had to. With this body, with this wound. Elias looked up at her. Didn't have another one. She stared at the ruin of his chest. Blood soaked her robe where she touched him. She did not pull away. Your heart still beats, she said, almost a whisper. Stubborn thing. She looked into his eyes. You should be dead. He gave a weak smile, teeth red. Keep saying that. Medics rushed in behind her. They froze when they saw the queen kneeling in blood. Veloria did not look at them. Full reconstruction, she ordered, voice hard again. Priority 1, every resource, now. The medics moved, lifted Elias carefully. New gel patches, fresh tubes. They worked fast. Veloria stood, watched them take him away. She stayed in the room, alone. She looked at the blood on her claws, at the handprint he had left on the wall when he slid down, clear, red, human. She touched it. Fingers lingered. For the first time in her life, the Queen Regent had no words. She turned off the lights, but the handprint stayed. In the next room, Elias lay under bright lamps again. Machines worked on him. Pain faded under strong drugs. He drifted. But before sleep took him, he heard her voice from the doorway. Quiet. Rest, Elias Kane. He smiled in the dark. Still here, still breathing, and the perfect queen had finally seen something she could not explain. The medical bay was quiet now. The alarms had stopped. The red emergency lights faded back to soft white. Machines worked steadily, pumping fluids into Elias Kane's veins, sealing the fresh tears in his chest, knitting what could be knit. He lay on a new cradle, this one wider, softer. No straps this time, just monitors and tubes. He drifted in and out. Sometimes he dreamed of Earth, blue sky, green fields, the smell of rain that did not burn. Sometimes he dreamed of the embassy hall, plasma flashing, friends falling. In every dream he kept moving, always moving. When he woke fully, the pain was there but distant. Drugs dulled it. His chest felt heavy, wrapped in layers of gel and smart bandages. He could breathe deeper now. Both lungs. No, one lung and something new the Zareth had grown in its place. Not perfect, not human, but working. He turned his head. Queen Regent Veloria Sci-Theron sat in a low chair near the cradle. She did not wear her full robes today. Just simple silver cloth that caught the light. Her forearms rested in her lap. Her compound eyes watched him steadily. Elias tried to sit up. Pain flared. He stopped halfway. Don't move yet, she said, voice soft. No command, just words. He settled back. You're here. I am. Why? She looked at the monitors. Lines moved smooth and even. To see if you would wake again. He gave a small laugh. It hurt, but felt good. Told you, stubborn. Veloria's mandibles moved slowly. You fought 3 trained soldiers, with your body half destroyed. Again. You should have died then. You did not. Elias looked at her. I had help. She tilted her head. No, you had will. Silence stretched between them. She stood, walked to the side of the cradle, looked down at the bandage over his chest. She reached out, placed one clawed hand flat on it. He felt the cool touch through the layers. Your heart beats under my hand, she said. Quiet, almost wonder. Elias watched her face. Feels weird, doesn't it? Yes. She did not move her hand. In the Dominion, she said, we end suffering. When a body fails, we replace it. When a mind weakens, we retire it. No one lingers in pain. No one fights what cannot be won. Elias listened. You fought what could not be won, she continued. 3 times now. The wound, the assassins, yourself. And each time you refused to end. He swallowed. Throat dry. Had to. Why? Because if I stopped, they won. The ones who did this. The ones who killed my people. I'm the last one who saw. If I die quiet, their story wins. Valoria's eyes clicked once. You carry that alone. Always have. Looked at the faint red mark her claw left on the bandage. I ordered your full reconstruction, she said. New lung tissue, reinforced ribs, blood filters. It is not human, but it will keep you alive. Elias raised an eyebrow. Turning me into one of you? No. Keeping you as you are. Broken, but alive. He studied her. Why? She walked to the viewport. Stars moved slow outside. The planet below was a gray marble in black space. I do not know, she said. I have ruled for 3 centuries. I have seen species rise and fall. I have ended wars with a word. I have never knelt in blood before tonight. Elias watched her back. She turned. You made me kneel, Elias Kane, not with force, with existence. He smiled faintly. Sorry about the mess. Do not be. She came back to the cradle, knelt again. This time both sets of hands rested on the edge, close to him but not touching. The words came slow, heavy. Elias met her eyes. But I'm not. No, you are not. She looked at the handprint on the floor from the night before. Someone had cleaned the blood, but left the print. A faint shadow in red. That mark, she said. It stays. I ordered it so. Elias followed her gaze. Why? To remember. Remember what? That perfection fails. That logic ends. That something raw and ugly and human can outlast everything we build. He closed his eyes for a second, tired, but peaceful. When he opened them, she was still there. Rest, she said. He nodded once. Weak. She stood, moved to leave. At the door she stopped. Elias Kane. Yeah? When you are strong again, will you speak for your people? Will you tell what happened here? If I live long enough. You will. She paused. And if you wish, the Dominion will listen. He looked at her. Really looked. You offering peace? I am offering understanding. Elias smiled, small, bloody, real. Good enough. She nodded once, then she left. The door closed soft. Elias lay back. The sheens hummed. His new lung filled and emptied. Steady, stronger. He stared at the ceiling, thought about the Marines, the diplomats, the Queen who knelt in his blood. Thought about home. He would see it again. Maybe not soon, but he would, because he was still here. Days turned to weeks. The reconstruction worked. Elias walked again. Slow at first, then steady. The scar on his chest stayed. Big, ugly, twisted, a reminder. He trained in a small gym on the flagship. Zareth soldiers watched from the doors, not to guard him, to learn. Ran on treadmills until his lung burned. Pushed until he bled again, then pushed more. Valoria came sometimes, watched, asked questions. Why do you train when you are already safe? Because safe ends when you stop. She nodded, learned. One day he stood on the observation deck, stars everywhere, Kalith V far below. Valoria joined him. You are healed, she said. Close enough. She looked out at the black. The radicals are gone, she told him. Their leaders face judgment. Your evidence, your life, ended their lie. Elias nodded. You could go home now, she said. A ship waits. He looked at her. Or I could stay, he said. Help fix what broke. She turned to him. You would do that? If you want understanding, someone has to teach it. She was quiet. Then she placed one hand on his shoulder. Light, no claws. A human should be dead, she said again. Soft, final. Elias looked into her eyes. But he never is. She smiled, small, first time. No, she said, he never is. They stood together, watching stars. Below on the cold world, the mind still waited. Peace still waited. Understanding waited. And one stubborn human, broken, scarred, alive, would help make it happen. Because that was what humans did. They refused to die. And sometimes, just sometimes, they changed everything by refusing.